What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Friday, September 18th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, NBA playoffs. Let's take a look at this NBA showdown between the Denver Nuggets and the LA Lakers. So we've got 4 studs on the slate here tonight. I'm going to go through all of them here. So we got Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets playing the LA Lakers, who've got a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing centers. Jokic has averaged 44.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 27% usage rate. He scored 72, 62, and 49 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 39, and 40 minutes. He's projected at 56 fantasy points here tonight, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 211 points scored in this game. So I like Nikola Jokic here versus the LA Lakers. Now, I like all these studs, guys. I'm going to go through all of them just to give you their last 3 games, the minutes that they've been playing, just so you guys can get a feel, their projected points, so you guys can get a feel for who you want to play. But all 4 of these guys can go off here tonight, so I would mix it up. But the next stud here is LeBron James from the LA Lakers playing the Denver Nuggets, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing small forwards. LeBron James has averaged 51.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 32% usage rate. He scored 58, 50, and 65 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 30, 33, and 37 minutes. He's projected at 55 fantasy points here tonight, so I like LeBron James here versus the Denver Nuggets. The next stud on the slate is Anthony Davis from the LA Lakers playing the Denver Nuggets. They got a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing power forwards. Anthony Davis has averaged 50.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He scored 29, 52, and 52 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 34, 39, and 38 minutes. His last game was his worst game in a while. He's been averaging at least 52 fantasy points for quite a while now, but he is projected at 52 fantasy points here tonight. So I like Anthony Davis here versus the Denver Nuggets. And the last stud on the slate, he's cheaper than the other guys, but he's been showing that he's got that 50 fantasy point upside, but he does have a lower floor. So I like Jamal Murray from the Denver Nuggets playing the LA Lakers, who have a good defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Jamal Murray has averaged 32.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He scored 50, 40, and 45 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 44, 40, and 39 minutes. He's projected at 42 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Jamal Murray here versus the LA Lakers. Now, if I were to pick 2 studs here, I would probably go with a guy like Jamal Murray and LeBron James, or Jamal Murray, Anthony Davis. I mean, I do like Jokic. It looks like he's the most expensive stud here on FanDuel. Between Jokic and Murray, they've just been on the court almost every minute of the game, and that's what's causing them to get this increase in production. But they got a tough task now against the Lakers, so I think I'd go with LeBron James as my top stud for here tonight. But moving on to some of these value plays, you're going to need to mix in these value plays with these studs to round off your lineup. So I like Jeremiah Grant from the Denver Nuggets playing the LA Lakers. good defense overall, good versus power forwards. Jeremiah Grant has averaged 21.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 27 minutes per game with an 18% usage rate. He scored 19, 10, and 24 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 30, 20, and 35 minutes. He's projected at 23.2 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Jeremiah Grant here versus the LA Lakers. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Another value play for you is Paul Millsap from the Denver Nuggets playing the LA Lakers. Good defense overall, good versus power forwards. Paul Millsap has averaged 23.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 24 minutes per game with a 20% usage rate. He scored 13, 17, and 28 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 31, 21, and 28 minutes. He's projected at 23.7 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Paul Millsap here versus the LA Lakers. Another player I like is Gary Harris from the Denver Nuggets playing the LA Lakers. Good defense overall, but they give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. So it looks like Gary Harris has the better positional matchup here that we've had so far. And he scored 20.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He scored 28, 32, and 11 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 42, and 27 minutes. He's projected at 26 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Gary Harris here versus the LA Lakers. And here's a super value play for you. He's only $7,000 FanDuel salary, so this is going to allow you to play a couple of studs, play some other quality players in your lineup. I like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope from the LA Lakers playing the Denver Nuggets. Good defense overall, good versus shooting guards. Caldwell-Pope has averaged 16.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 26 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He scored 15, 14, and 14 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 28, 30, and 29 minutes. So he's getting the minutes. If he can have a good shooting night and get you over 20 fantasy points, that's what you're looking for. He is projected at 17.2 fantasy points here tonight, so I like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope here versus the Denver Nuggets. And one other guy to keep your eye on, he's questionable with some back spasms, but if he does play this game, you got to consider him. It's Rajon Rondo from the LA Lakers playing the Denver Nuggets, who have a good defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing point guards. Rajon Rondo has averaged 18.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 21 minutes per game with a 19% usage rate. He's been on fire here in the playoffs. He scored 21, 38, and 37 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 20, 28, and 30 minutes. He's projected at 22.2 fantasy points here tonight, but he's got that 35 plus fantasy point upside. He can get it done for you. Just got to keep an eye out on that injury status before tip off. See if he's going to be a full go. If he is and he's not going to be limited, I'd probably go with a little bit of playoff Rondo. So I like Rajon Rondo here versus the Denver Nuggets. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.